Okay, well, welcome Camping with Dog Workshop. Hey, howdy. Monday morning. Here's a fella asked me about what you got to do to turn a propane tank into a GPA. First of all, the caveat is, if it blows up and kills you, it's not my fault. Okay, but I'm going to show you some of the things that need to be done. First of all, make sure your tank is empty. Obviously, you don't want to be cutting into a tank that's got pressurized gas. Second, you have to modify the valve. Now, there's two ways you can do that. You can unscrew this valve, or if it's brass, with a cutoff wheel, cut it off flush with that little metal shoulder that comes out of the tank. The advantage of that is you have something to solder to. What you'll need to do is get a donor lantern to cut up and get parts from. Now, this guy, I've already harvested some parts, but what you're going to need is the bung filling, or the bung screw, and some of the metal around it. Okay, so I don't know, you cut out a little circle about that big around the bung. Also, you need the filler cap. Now, or the filler port. I've already used the filler port on this one for another project, but you know what it looks like. I make these handles to hold filler caps when I polish them. It's going to look like something like this, and once again, leave about, I don't know, a ½ inch of metal around that when you cut it off. Then there's two ways to go as far as pressurizing. You can harvest the pump, but this pump to fill up a 3 or 4 gallon tank is going to take you like a week and a half. So what I would recommend is not even putting a pump on it. There's two types of filler caps you can get on eBay, and they're like 12 bucks each. One is a filler cap that has called an Amish nipple. It's basically a Schrader valve, so you can fill it up with a compressor. Or they also have a filler cap that looks like the old CQ and Quick Light caps that you use a big hand pump, but that will fit into this size thread filler port. So what you do, silver soldering is much better than lead soldering, okay, because it's a higher temp and makes a stronger bond. But for this application, you could even just use regular plumber's lead solder. So what you do is, when you whack this off, you take your bung and solder that on. You got to make sure that the hole in here is big enough to accept this pickup, okay? This is the fuel pickup. You'll have to extend that. The easiest way to do it is go to your hardware store, get a little piece of brass tube, figure out how much you got to solder on that to reach the bottom. What I would do, I'd make the thing torchlight. I'd solder all this shut, so you don't have to worry about, starting with vapor and then going to fuel. But you screw that in. That gives you control over your fuel. Then you take the part you harvested off of that, the filler port, cut a hole, put it in, and either silver solder or lead solder that. Again, I'd go with silver solder. What else do you need to know? That's basically it. It's a pretty straightforward thing. What I would also do, if you're using an Amish nipple like this, you don't want to over pressurize your tank. So stick a pressure gauge on it. Okay, once again, you can buy these guys on eBay. One that goes from 0 to 30 is adequate. Figure out what size thread you need. and braze a piece in. It's a fairly straightforward conversion. Um, no rocket science. It's just a matter of making sure that all your seams that you solder or braze are tight. And there you go. All right, so if you got any other questions, just give me a holler and I'll let you know. And once again, whenever you do any kind of custom lantern work, it's on your own head. You're responsible for your work. I can show you how to do it. If you don't do it right and it blows up, don't have your lawyer call me. All right, that's it. You have a good week. Bye.